Good morning, this is Ann Diener, and I've worked very hard for the election convictions to come out. I called Robert Mueller's office 3 days after it had opened, knowing that Donald Trump did in fact steal election 2016 based on exit polling data that I gathered, as well as the verification that validated the hackers that were arrested in Russia later on through the Humpty Dumpty scandal that happened over there. The Office of Disciplinary Counsel said that they did not have subpoena power in regards to those who had stolen our elections. And those are the individuals who were involved in cross-check, micro-targeting, and Diebold. And the reason why they did not have the subpoena power, I suspect now, I want this recorded for my protection, is because of Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn had made contact through Gordon Duff, who knew I had contacted Robert Mueller. So Gordon Duff put Mike Flynn in contact in exchange for clemency for him to begin a trial here. Basically of the guilty of September 11th, the individuals who were the 19 secret society members that they gave clemency to and that was criminal. Their whole goal was to cheat the American people. And we have our gold standard and our money back, and that needs to be delivered and seen as assets that America has for American standing. And the election convictions need to be made with subpoena power delivered back to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel. For Gordon Duff, an individual who was compromised by Russia in the very beginning to allow Robert Mueller to adjudicate the guilty of September 11th to make himself innocent so that he could traffic more arms, is criminal, in my opinion. And I don't think that Michael Flynn actually wanted to be part of this situation over here. It's to me, I think that he was at a tough spot, and then he accepted what Mueller offered him. And I submitted that testimony or that data, and it's very uncomfortable what they do here with the overhead. And Mueller claimed it was the overlord they had in place. And there is no overlord they had in place. We need 2020 not to be stolen for Biden, not to be stolen for Trump. We need a real election, and that is guaranteed constitutionally in our country. They are battling it out against the Supreme Court and the shadow electors, which is a good battle ahead. Now we need to battle it on for our micro-targeting conviction against Robert Mercer and SCL, which was Cambridge Analytica, and that led to Renaissance Technologies. And they're the ones who back then, I suspect they had $80 trillion in counterfeit money running on the back end. Basically valueless currency held in their coffers. How did they get the numbers on paper to steal elections? We need to find out, how do they acquire $80 trillion on paper? And so that's something to be uncovered. The cross-check conviction is still a worthwhile cause. It purges white, black, any voter that's voting for a down-ballot candidate. That's typically an honest person who wants to vote for real elected officials to represent their leadership. And everyone should be concerned about their interests going into 2020. It appears with the Manafort, hopefully they bring Manafort back in. It's like, are we going to allow Trump to continue to release people who he thought allowed crime? Is that the kind of government? I mean, Trump stole 2016. Clinton stole the primary. I technically became the president, and I hate to use the P word ever, because it doesn't matter. It's really wrong what was done here with Robert Mueller and with the overhead and how they laundered the drug money And those charges against Duff should go through, and maybe Flynn turned into a witness for the Navy, because I don't think that Flynn was interested so much in what they had to offer. I think he took early on. He wanted the money from Turkey, and he was potentially guilty of violating the Foreign Registration Act, but they used that weakness in him in order to harm our justice system, and to keep this situation here ongoing, to where American homeowners are devalued through drug money laundering and the land grab against America, the scam. And it was not right that I did not get to provide testimony regarding the land grab, and also regarding the buildings that were constructed with the nuclear components. I look forward to testifying. I'm a person who is straight and who works for justice every single day for the American voter. We do not need cocaine money. I also do think that Stevenson did not want to participate with Duff. And his idea of having the whole grand jury thing here was, I mean, and then the scary stuff that they do. I don't want any part of these people. I do want to testify directly against them. And people need to know about September 11th, especially if they're going to be walking in buildings where there are nuclear components. And we need to definitely remove those components. And we need to take a stab at our election convictions and actually move forward on them. So hopefully the Office of Disciplinary Counsel can actually discipline Robert Mueller, and we can deliver our money back eventually to the American voter, Americans' tax money, that's been held up for so long because of this whole Robert Mueller nasty thing here. And I mean, it's like he took advantage of America, and it is espionage to file bankruptcy on America, because Donald Trump did meet with organized crime pre-September, being seated, to discuss the bankruptcy. And I want to know, why is that not admissible? It's like, could Robert Mueller be charged with espionage? They already said before that Robert Mueller was compromised. And so that's why I'm encouraging the Office of Disciplinary Counsel to actually complete their investigation on Robert Mueller. This was criminal. It was criminal to the victims of September 11th, all the American voters who have fought very hard to actually have a real election. And so as we go forward, my goal is a real election for every single voter. I work the elections consistently, and I have for probably 18 elections now. Back then, when Robert Mueller was hired, he was marketed as someone making election convictions. And Gordon Duff took my call to Robert Mueller in order to exonerate Flynn, in order to create this fake courtroom here for Flynn to preside over it with Robert Mueller. And that was wrong, to attempt to harm America financially and to bankrupt us. And we've kept our gold standard and our money back. And each and every American owns our planet and works for justice every day with all their resources that they have. And that's what we've got to encourage as an American public. Have a good day.